The new relics are actually pretty interesting. Specifically one that might actually change the way that we play power builds in Guild Wars 2. Let's talk about it. Subscribe to the channel for more content on this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support me, and let's get into it. So, what is this relic? This relic is called Relic of Saccharos. While you are under the effects of Fury, convert a percentage of your outgoing critical strike damage into healing. Percentage 4%. So every time you crit while under the effects of Fury, which in endgame and honestly even in open world, if you have the correct build, but most of the builds do give Fury, you'll have probably all the time, right? And of course you can see critical strike damage. So it's like, oh well, that's not that much. Well, it is in Guild Wars 2 where every power build has 100% critical chance. So every one of your attacks will actually be healing you 4%. And considering the fact that you are doing like around 30 to 40k in most power builds, that is a good amount of healing every second. And actually, I'm gonna test it right now on the Golem. I have the mildly environmental pulse damage, and we actually can test it out later as well with the the most damage you can get from this golem to see how good it is. It's actually a very interesting relic, not only because yes, it could eventually find some usage in endgame of playing without even healers. So if everyone is running this one, as it will only give you like a 5%. A 5% decrease in damage, which in a 40k build is probably gonna be around like what 2 to 3k damage less, and a 30k build on a boon build is gonna be way less than that, right? So it's actually pretty interesting. The same goes, and I think this is the biggest important part of this relic, the fact that if you have a very selfish build that will do a lot of damage but it's very squishy, like Weaver, like Deadeye, stuff like this, you can put this one in, right? And you'll have a lot of more survivability, right? Which is super cool. So you can choose to be very greedy or get this one in and get a bit more healing towards yourself and be a bit more comfortable. Now, that being said, you probably should, aim to not having to do this in actual content, but it's a good stepping stone. And it's a good way of balancing the game without having to, nerfing the builds that do a lot of damage that are also very squishy. It is noted to say though that this only works for power, as Condi will not really get that much of an effect of this because they're not going to be doing that many critical strikes. And as you can see here, it says critical strike damage. Strike damage is only power. Condi will not work with this, which makes you think, why didn't they do it overall? But maybe we'll get a Relic of Saccharos Condi version eventually, right? But let's go and by the way, this is the way you get it. Just before I forget, you can get it from Heroic Notary, Insecurity Obscure, League Vendor in PvP, or Artivist Iker in the Wizard's Tower. You can see it right here. It's just a guy that is in the Wizard's Tower on this point, and you ask you for some currency and research notes for the relic. You do need the event collection Citadel of Saccharos, which is essentially just do some events in Citadel of Saccharos, which is super easy. Like if you done the meta at any point, right? You probably have this, right? It's like it's not that much, right? You just have to do this once, do the meta ones, and you probably you'll be fine. You'll get it, right? And you get the Relic of Saccharos one time, and you can just purchase it more times afterwards. Or you can have your legendary relic, which is very useful, and I do have it. So there you go. Now let's test it out and see how much I perform. I actually have tested this before. I was able to, in a good amount of builds, survive the highest amount of damage. I did lose a bit of damage as well, and I'm not gonna here pretend that I'm gonna be like, oh, perfect damage on Willbender. This is not gonna be the case. I am not that good and haven't practiced this that much. But of course, you can actually do it while even being bad like me, right? Like, look, I'm just gonna go here. I'm just gonna perform a little bit of the damage that I should be doing, and you can see here that I'm not even taking any damage. Like, if I just I'm full health. I haven't even used my healing skill, and I'm just full health. And I'm only doing 31k. This is a 40k build, and I'm just bad at it. So imagine if I actually was doing the correct damage, I would be doing way more healing. Now let's sit here and just see how much damage I take by just sitting here. It's actually killing me, right? Slowly, but it is. Now let's go in here and do it again, but now with the highest amount of damage that you can get. I'm just gonna go to the arena console. We're gonna adjust environment, turn it off, and then pulsing arena damage on. Extremely threatening. This is what usually healers would use to see if they can actually heal enough to to try the build and actually use it on endgame content, right? Now I do have every boon because I mean, look, we're just trying out. We're just trying out in a scenario where you have all the defensive boons as well, right? But it's just a little bit of an experiment. And let's see if we can actually survive. Actually, I kind of fucked up the rotation here. I am taking more damage, but I'm still surviving. I have not also not used my my heal. I will probably have to use it now though, even because I kind of fucked up my rotation. But then again, look at that. I am back up just so using my heal. Now, to be fair, my heal here is very, very useful. And I'm sure that in some other situations, you will have to use another one. But look at that. I am surviving. And I'm going to just get in here, use my heal, get to the health to maximum, and I'm back. Now, to be fair here, look how fast I'm just dying by not healing myself but with my new relic. I could be doing way more damage, right? If I was doing 40k, I would probably most likely would be able to survive this as well. But you know, it's a little bit of a demonstration how powerful this build is. And sadly, all the builds that I actually know how to do benchmark damage on are indeed they are indeed combi, so I can't really test it out. But it definitely seems like, considering the fact that I'm completely fumbling my rotation, and I'm still able to survive with just one heal, it seems completely fine. I actually tested this with Herald as well, and I was able to do it very, very well as well. I was able to survive for the whole duration of the golem, which is pretty cool. Let's actually just test it with another heal ability, just to see if I can actually do it. Get yourself in the cone. This I want something instant. I guess nothing of this is instant. What about the signet? Get yourself in remove conditions. Healing 8,000. That sounds like the one we need. Let's try with this one. See if we can survive with this one instead. Let's go in. Pick some damage. It does seem like I'm surviving. A little bit more because of the passive healing. And of course, I'm full damage here. We're gonna have to heal here. And let's see if we make it. We are kind of taking a bit more damage here. And we're gonna die. Unlucky. And I was only doing 26k. Unluckers. But as you can see here, it's actually pretty cool. You can use it in almost all the in open world, in raids. If you're struggling to actually survive, it'll help you a lot. And as I said before, it's not gonna be that much of a DPS loss. As I said though, and it's very, very important to note, you probably want to eventually move out of it. It's just so, like, hey, if you're practicing a new build and you're feeling very uncomfortable with it, it might help you a little bit to survive, right? If you're doing a raid training and it's your first time playing the this fight, you know, maybe it's a good idea as well, right? You will only be healing yourself while you're attacking the boss, but it might actually help you a little bit, right? You can have it as an option. If you see that the healer maybe is not doing enough, you can just put it on for that fight and just, you know, not be worried that you're gonna end up dying, right? There's a lot of good utility for it. And you can also I mean, it just doesn't lose you that much damage anyways, right? So you can just use it, right? You can use it randomly depending on the situation. And the biggest thing that I think is very good about this one is that it just gives so much flexibility for not only Arena to balance things out and create very squishy builds that people can use, but have this option in case that they want to be less squishy, but at the same time not having to compromise in the design of the specs, right? Something like Weaver, you know, like yeah, well, Weaver is I won't say a perfect example. Usually it's pretty squishy, right? But that's what, you know, LA's kind of like want. They want a big glass cannon that just destroys everything, but, you know, it has some disadvantages like dying. But you can maybe mitigate that disadvantage a little bit on your choosing by using this relic. So sacrifice 5% of your damage and become kind of immortal. I think that's actually pretty cool. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you're gonna use this one. Tell me if you guys don't think it's gonna be worth using in the first place. And if I find any other relics that are interesting as well, I'll leave them in this. Well, I'll make another video about it. So definitely subscribe to the channel for more content of this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support this channel. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. And go to my Discord to hang out off stream. See you guys around. Love you all. Bye bye. Oh, there we go.